Wake up, work, eat, sleep. Wake up, work, eat, sleep. Wake up, work, eat, sleep. Does that sound familiar? This treadmill of stagnation, the never ending hamster wheel where you're running and running but getting nowhere. I didn't realize there was another way. Until now. I feel as if we were all given a script. It goes something like this: you get good grades, you graduate high school, get into a good college, get a degree, but then what? Why does the story stop there? Like, what comes after that? What does all of that amount to? A golden ticket, it seems. But to where? More work? The endless loop of a 9 to 5? A one-way trip to the rat race. I knew there had to be more. This monotony of adult life sounds something like we've all heard of. As I settled into a routine, it was work, eat, sleep, proverbial slumber. Like my body was going through the motions, but my mind was asleep on autopilot because it's just what I've always been doing. A four-wall prison of complacency. Living in the present, but I was stuck. The past full of memories, the future full of hope, but the present like a prison. Days blurring together faster than Usain Bolt the stem shot, but at the same time, the hours at work and hours during the day felt like the last 10 seconds of a plank. Weeks blend together, years disappear, urgency creeping in. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? How come every 18-year-old is already driving a Ferrari and making $3 million a week? Am I okay with coasting? Why does me sinking into my couch and scrolling feel so safe? Why am I satisfied with watching other people succeed? Consuming and consuming without creating anything of value myself. Comfort disguised as rest. Fear, too scared to start, disguised as realism. And complacency becoming a habit. Way back when I was a wee little lad, my mom used to speak on seasons, like a season of life. In this season, you're doing this. In this season, you're doing that. And she always emphasized how seasons come and go and they're never permanent. And that just didn't resonate with me until recently. Being stuck is a season. Having your nose to the grindstone and putting in tons of work seemingly unnoticed is a season. And it's so important to shift your perspective and to expand your mentality when it comes to your perspective on the season of life you're in. Like, this too will pass. And this leaves us with two options. We can either choose the present to be a prison, or we can choose for it to be a perch. Same situation, different position. We can either react and just fly off the handle whenever things don't go right. We can be contained in the walls of our own mind, or we can stand on top of our failures, use them as rungs to build our ladder as we climb to success. I remember hearing this metaphor about a man pushing a boulder uphill. And it's a pretty steep angle. I'm not going to go into the exact degrees. I'm no mathematician. But essentially, it represents how in life you're never truly still. You're either going forward or you're going backwards. If you stop pushing, the boulder starts rolling back down the hill. But if you keep pushing, when you get to the top of the hill, you'll look back and see how far you've come. Growth is uphill. It's supposed to be hard. Nothing rewarding should in life is going to be easy. Momentum has to be created. You know, when you start, say you're pushing a boulder, at first it's going to be so heavy, seems like it weighs 3 billion tons. But as you start pushing and that momentum is created and you start stacking the necessary habits for growth, momentum is generated. And what seemed to be impossible at first suddenly becomes manageable. We must escape. We must fail. We have to try and fall and learn and grow. No more waiting. Procrastination wins every time we set ourselves back. We lose more time and another opportunity to learn. I have 3 challenges for you. Number 1 is 1 uncomfortable action daily. This could be as simple as waking up and doing push ups or taking a cold shower instead of a warm, comfortable one. My second challenge is to create instead of consume. Like, what are you putting into the world? What value are you adding with your life? And then my third challenge is to build momentum first. You can't just expect things to all of a sudden be going full speed. Think there's a progression of things. It's a crawl, then a walk, then a jog, then a run, then a full sprint. But you never would have been able to get to that sprint unless you started walking first. Using failure as a perch and standing on every experience, not as something that drags you down, but as something that propels you closer to being the person you need to be able to retain the value and meaning you want your life to have. You have to have had those experiences. Because if you aren't the person that you need to be able to contain the value that you want to have, you won't be able to sustain it at all. Wake up, work, eat, sleep. That's the script. Unless you rewrite it. We rewrite them. I'm sorry, I had to say that. We rewrite them. Prison or perch? Push the boulder or let it crush you? Choose differently.